Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, F2WBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016, where we're playing as the WWF in the year 2002 now. Still booking the invasion angle, going in strong as we book our way up to the Royal Rumble, but tonight we'll be running WCW Thursday Night Nitro, and I'll be honest with you guys, I really like this show. I like the way it turned out. I like the way everything was written. Hell, I used all 125 minutes, and I even had to take away time because I didn't have enough to fit it all in. Either way, we did fit it all in, though, so that's good. So why don't we just jump right in and stop wasting time, shall we? We do have a couple of pre-show matches here tonight. We have a total of 2 pre-show matches. Our first pre-show match sees a former WCW talent, Tank Abbott, not making his debut. He's just a local talent. But I also wanted to test him out, see how he does. We have a poor pre-show match here where Ron Simmons takes on and defeats Tank Abbott with the Spine Buster after 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Apparently there's not enough selling shown here. Ron Simmons with a 73 and Tank with a 42. Now that's not bad. Tank is an opener. He's not popular. 42 for an opener. That ain't too shabby. We might be bringing in Tank Abbott at some point. You never know. And then we follow up with, honestly, a worst match. I thought this would have done better. 56C- here. We have a Hardcore Championship match in the main event of the pre-show. Poor pre-show match. Raven going over Steve Blackman in 7 minutes 31 seconds after pitting him with the Raven effect following interference from Vampiro. So maybe Vampiro came out, spit some mist or hit him with a chair. I don't know. Whatever Vampiro really would do. Maybe spit some blood in his face instead of it being mist. Bloody mist. That would be cool. Either way, Raven technically just made his first defense of the Hardcore Championship, so good for him. He's getting better at his gimmick, but unfortunately here, Steve Blackman and Raven didn't click, and it showed in the performance, which is unfortunate. Blackman with the 41, Raven with the 60. So remember, guys, Tank Abbott was like a 41, right? Steve Blackman, who works for us, is a 41. Now, guaranteed, of course, him and Raven didn't click. That affected the performance, but still, it's something to take note of. The main reason for this matchup here, and I will go ahead and pull it up before the show, we had a couple locker room incidents, and one of the locker room incidents was Steve Blackman putting everybody in a good mood after he set up a pancake station and served anyone who wanted any pancakes. So I'm assuming maybe he ran out of some pancake mix or whatnot before Raven got it. Or maybe even Vampiro, and that's why Vampiro attacked him. I pretty much decided to just, thank him and reward him for making everyone pancakes by giving him a hardcore title match. He lost, but he had a match. Austin, of course, passing along tips on working as a babyface to Rhino as well. So, good locker room morale, I guess. I don't know. Good locker room meeting. Sure, whatever. Let's move on to the start of the show. Before we do that, never mind. I was going to say before we do that, let me take a drink, but apparently I forgot my drink. So this might be one of those shows where I'm a little parched throughout the entire thing. Either way, let's move on to the opening segment of the night, which gets a 99 A-star rating here. Hell yes. Thursday Night Nitro opens up with the King of the Ring / #1 contender to the WCW World Championship, Chris Benoit, making his way down to the ring alongside his mentor, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. While they're making their way to the ring, Mike Tenay, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Bobby the Brain Heenan, rest in peace, both Dream and Bobby the Brain Heenan now. They cover the events that took place last week between Benoit and Booker T fighting over the King of the Ring crown, so on and so forth. Once in the ring, the King stands, dressed to impress, by the way. He's holding his crown in his hand while Ric Flair takes the mic, and he says, "Woo! No. How many times do I gotta tell you idiots? It's woo, not boo. You fools have no idea how to treat men of class. Much like the Nature Boy and the King of WCW. Woo! And pretty soon the King will become the champ. Woo! As he takes the title away from that pretend champion and ascends to the top of WCW as its true face. Woo! And speaking of the Rumble, while the King is busy crippling that pretender Kurt Angle, the Nature Boy will stroll into the Royal Rumble once again, baby. Woo! And win it. Win the whole damn thing again, and while the Canadian Crippler leads WCW against the WWF, Rock, Undertaker, I'll be watching your match. This is a horrible Ric Flair impersonation, by the way. I'll be watching your match very closely because whoever wins between you two is going to have to face the dirtiest player in the game at WrestleMania, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. That's when Can You Dig It, Sucker, Booker T's music goes off, interrupting Rick as the former WCW World Champion makes his way down to the entryway. He comes out, he's clapping, he says, "You know, Rick, I'm glad you got everything planned out, and I really hope things go the way you envision it. But you gotta win the Rumble first. And in order to win the Rumble, you gotta actually be in the Royal Rumble match." And then Rick, of course, he's taking a little back here. He's chuckling. He's just like, "What the hell are you talking about? Of course I'm in the Rumble. All the members of Team WCW from War Games was put in the Rumble." And then Book goes on to say, "Yeah, I know. But you see, after last week," this is a horrible Book T, by the way, too. "When you screwed me out of the King of the Ring crown," this is really bad. "I went to Shane after the show. I vented my frustrations and asked him to put me in a match with you, with an added stipulation that whoever loses is out of the Royal Rumble." The worst Booker T impersonation probably in the history of Booker T's impersonations. Award goes to OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. Oh my god, I won. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank everyone who voted for me. Thank you. Thank you, Booker T, for acknowledging how horrible that impersonation is. Let us just move on and pretend that that wasn't as bad as it was. Anyway, Flair goes on to respond saying, "You're joking, right? Why would you even do that? You already had a spot in the Rumble." And then Book goes on to reply saying, "Yeah, I know. But again, after you screwed me over, I decided I wanted to do the same to you. So if you want your Rumble spot, you're going to have to beat me in tonight's main event. Now can you dig that? Sucker!" Does the whole thing. Maybe tease it a little bit of a face turn, I guess. I don't really think so. It's just more of a, you screwed me over, so I'm going to screw you over. So despite, the horrible Ric Flair and the horrible Booker T accents here tonight, the voice acting was just atrocious there, let's be honest. Pretty much what we got going on here is Ric Flair screwed Booker out of the King of the Ring crown, thus screwing him out of the number one contendership last week against his, Chris Benoit. Booker T approached Shane McMahon, who's a good friend of his, had Shane make the match between him and Ric Flair tonight, with the stipulation added that whoever loses is out of the Royal Rumble and whoever wins is in the Royal Rumble. So pretty much that whole thing we've been doing with Austin and Triple H and all of them. That's what's going on tonight. Bobby Heenan and Mike Tenay were honestly pretty weak, which is a shame. It did get the show off to a strong start. Crowd was hot. Ric Flair came across well. And despite really Kurt Angle and Benoit not being in the much of anything in this match, or, this angle, these storyline advanced. So there you have that. We then go into a 73 B- of an angle. We go backstage. We see Hugh Morrus. He's getting ready for his matchup against Mark Jindrak, which is up next after the commercial break. And that's when Kanyon steps up to say something. He says, "All right, how you feeling tonight, Hugh? Hugh, you ready?" And Hugh goes on to respond saying, "I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous. Mark Jindrak's a scary man. But if there's one thing I've learned from our friendship, it's that I can't let people push me around, and I've got to stand up for myself. Last week, Power Plant made me look like a fool. I know what everyone says around here, that I'm holding you back, that I'm the weak link of our team. Tonight, I'm going to show everyone that Hugh Morrus is championship material. And then at the Royal Rumble, we're going to show everyone that we're championship material when we beat those two muscleheads and become the WCW Tag Team Champions." And then Kanyon's sitting there, he's nodding, he's agreed, and he says, "You're damn right we are. You ready? Good. Let's go." And we go into a commercial break as we lead into our opening match of the night, which gets a 74 B-. Not too bad. We have a decent matchup here as Mark Jindrak of Power Plant, one half of the WCW Tag Team Champions, goes over Hugh Morrus in 7 minutes, 37 seconds with the mark of perfection, after Lord Steven Regal interfered. So I'd imagine maybe Regal landing a power of the punch, Mark Jindrak then hits the mark of perfection, whatever move that exactly is. 1, 2, 3. Hugh Morrus gets the victory. I'd also like to imagine that Stasiak was out there. And the reason why Regal was able to get in that power of the punch without the referee looking is because Stasiak and Kanyon started getting into a little bit of an argument on the outside of the ring, which led to, the referee being distracted and Regal being able to hit that brass knuckle punch. You get where we're going with this. Either way, Regal did some good work ringside. Hugh Morrus with a 69. Mark Jindrak with a 65. So, interesting to see here. Hugh Morrus is actually a better in-ring performer than Mark Jindrak, but Jindrak's getting up there, guys. As we lead into the next segment here, which gets an 83 B+. Regal and Power Plant, they're making their way up the rampway. They're celebrating Mark Jindrak's victory. As Kanyon, now in the ring, he takes the mic and he says, "Look at you buffoons, celebrating like you actually won something. You didn't beat Hugh Morrus. You, John Stasiak, and Lord Steven Regal over here beat Hugh Morrus. Because it wasn't for... hold on, let me try that again. If it wasn't for that moron, and yes, I'm talking about you, Stasiak, you slow bastard. But anyway, if it wasn't for him getting in my face and causing a distraction, then Lord Regal over here wouldn't have had the opportunity to knock my partner out with brass knucks. But I'll tell you what, Regal, if you're man enough, why don't you face me right here, right now? Or hell, give me Stasiak since you love hiding behind big sweaty men all the time." And Regal, he's laughing at, Kanyon's little joke there, and he's like, "Well, someone's in a mood tonight. But you know what, Chris? I'm not going to fight you, and neither is Mr. Stasiak. I'm actually going to give you an opportunity to show you what you can do on your own, and how you don't need this extra baggage, because tonight, Mr. Kanyon, it'll be you." And I think I might have actually continued on with this, so hold on. Let me see. No, it's not. It's not. So I just kind of went on with myself. So anyway, it'll be you going one-on-one against the WCW World Champion, Kurt Angle, tonight. And there you go. Kanyon's got a big match tonight. So despite Regal and Power Plant really kind of feuding with Kanyon and Morrus right now, Regal's kind of trying to show Kanyon that, he's better off with Hugh. Maybe trying to open Kanyon's eyes, get him to ditch Hugh. That way Kanyon and Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak won't have to worry about Kanyon and Hugh Morrus. And he's got a big opportunity tonight as he'll take on the WCW World Champion, as we just found out. Either way, though, this angle did get the crowd hotter, so that's awesome. Crowd was hot. They're ready to see Kanyon and Angle. And Power Plant's feud with Kanyon and Morrus also gained some heat, so good on you guys. We move on into the next segment here, which gets a solid A rating with a 90 rating here. Shane McMahon, he's back in his office. He's on the phone with someone discussing bringing them back to WCW, and Ric Flair comes barging in, and he just starts off. He's angry. He's frustrated. He's like, "What the hell, McMahon?" And Shane goes on to say, "Excuse me, can you hold on for a moment?" He then takes the phone away from his ears. He does the whole cut my hand over, and he says, "Rick, this is really important. Can you come back?" And Ric Flair, kind of taken aback there, he then grabs the phone, rips the phone out of Shane McMahon's hands, and hangs up like one of those old flip phones. He just shuts it closed, and Shane's just taken aback, and he's like, "What the hell, Rick?" And then Flair goes, "Understand something, McMahon. No one is more important than the Nature Boy. Which is why I'm here to ask you, what the hell is up with you putting my Rumble spot on the line against Booker T? I earned my spot in the War Games." Shane then, kind of agrees with him, and he goes, "Yeah, but after last week when you deliberately cost Booker his chance at becoming the King of the Ring and taking away his chance at the WCW World Championship, he came to me with a request. He wanted to put his Rumble spot up against your Rumble spot so he could take something from you, and I gave it to him. Case solved." And then Rick's pissed right now. Let's just make it clear. Rick is angry, and he says, "You're talking out of your ass, McMahon. You're slowly become the tyrant that your father is." And that's a line you don't want to cross. I mean, you just compared Shane to the man he's at war with. So Shane goes on to go, "Oh, is that what you think, Rick? You want to see my father? Because I'll give you my dad. Because as of right now, I'm banning Chris Benoit from ringside." And Rick's just mad. "What? You can't do that. And then Shane's just like, oh, I can, and I just did. And if Benoit is even seen out there, he will lose his title shot. And Ric's just, what? Like, he's baffled right now. And Shane's just like, oh, you heard me. Good luck out there, Nate. Now get out of my office. I've got an important phone call to make that hopefully you didn't ruin our chances. And Flair's pissed. Benoit's pissed. They get out of the office just mad before, anything worse happens. Shane's calling that person back. I guess they picked up because he goes on to say, hey, sorry about that. Ric Flair stopped by, and I'm sure you know how Ric Flair can be. And he continues going on as the camera, can't really hear what he's saying as we get out of there. And I'd imagine maybe the color commentators, who do you think was on the phone? And you hear Bobby, who cares who's on the phone? Did you see that injustice Shane McMahon just did to Ric Flair? After Flair, defended WCW in War Games, now he has to put his title shot on the line, or his Rumble spot, against Booker T and Benoit's band? Simple as that, pretty much going on with that. Ric Flair clearly enjoyed having the freedom going off script. Shane McMahon improvised well, good on them all. Bobby Heenan was pretty weak, which is unfortunate. Ric Flair came out looking excellent. Chris Benoit was a real star, and it gained heat to the Royal Rumble storyline. We then go to just a quick little freestyle segment, nothing too special here. 76 B- as the Giant is making his way down to the ring. He's searching for Diamond Dallas Page as he's making his way down the ring, screaming, where's DDP? And stuff like that. As we come back from a commercial break to the Giant already in the ring. As we get a A-star, 99 rating here. Apparently Giant was making his way down the ring. I'd imagine he's in the ring already. He takes the mic, he wastes no time calling out DDP, and he says, Page! Get your ass down here. I'm done playing these games with you. I'm taking your scrawny ass out before you find a way to screw me out of the Rumble. I won't wait. I will come back there and find you, and trust me, you'd rather have people watching me beat your ass because maybe then you'd get out alive. So get out of here, Paige. But instead of Diamond Dallas Page, the music of Goldberg hits, and out comes Goldberg. He does the whole, maybe not the knocking on the door and police escort, but I imagine the fireworks going off, and he does the breathe in. Typical Goldberg entrance as he makes his way towards the ring with a mic in his hand. He says, Giant, for a man of your size, you sure do a lot of bitching. But now Goldberg is officially in the ring, and he goes, I only came down here for one reason, and that reason was to correct you, because, you see, boy, it's not Dallas Page you should be worried about in the Royal Rumble. It's Goldberg. And then Giant just starts laughing. Oh, doing the typical, I can't do a Giant laugh, but you guys know how the Big Show sounds when he does that fake laugh. Like, he sounds like he's yawning. Either way, he goes, worried? Bill, you do know that there are 29 other men in this battle royal. Unless you're in the Rumble late, I'm not worried about you at all. You'll be gassed in seconds. 1 second, guys. The only reason you beat me last week was because of that weasel Diamond Dallas Page. If he wouldn't have distracted me, I would have grabbed you by your throat, lifted you high in the air, and slammed you through the canvas. You're a flash in the pan, Goldberg. And now Goldberg, he gets in Giant's face and he goes, yeah? You want to test that theory? But before things can get a little physical between the two men here, DDP's music goes off, and out comes Diamond Dallas Page, who's just like, whoa. Easy, guys. Let's save it for the Rumble. And Giant now has his full attention on DDP. Right when Page came out, that's all Giant focused on. He goes, oh, we're past that, Page. I'm not waiting until the Rumble. I'm finishing this tonight. And if I got to go through Bill here, then I've got no problem with that. And then Page steps up and he goes, or I've got a better solution. Why don't you go through the both of us? Since you don't want to wait and Bill looks like he's ready to go now, how about tonight, Giant, you find yourself a partner who is brave enough to step in the ring against Diamond Dallas Page and Goldberg. And Goldberg has a smile on his face and he goes, yeah, that sounds like a damn good plan to me. What do you say, Giant? Think you can find a friend? Or do you have the balls to step in the ring with DDP and Goldberg by yourself? And Giant, he looks at them both and he goes, oh, I'll find somebody. Somebody who's going to help me show everyone here that you're a fraud. And once Goldberg here is gassed and knocked out, No one will save you from a giant's wrath, Paige. And Paige is just like, oh, okay, whatever. And he's just like, oh, I'm sure of it, Paul. Good luck finding someone. Just don't chicken out when you realize no one wants to team with a jackass. And that's kind of the end of the promo there. As it's official, it's announced that Giant will find himself a partner to team up to face the team of Goldberg and Diamond Dallas Page. Bobby Heenan's still weak on the commentary table, which is a shame. Because Bobby Heenan was always great at the commentary table from what I remember. DDP and Giant's storyline also gained heat. So we go into a 75 B-. Mean Gene's backstage. He says, all right, fans, Mean Gene here, and joining me at this time is the WCW United States Champion, Edge. Now, Edge, over the past couple of weeks, Chuck Palumbo has made it very clear that he's a new man, and he's coming for that U.S. Championship. And then Edge goes on to say, yeah, well, that's what Chucky says, but we'll see if that's what he means, because, you see, Mean Gene, Chuck has a lot of talk, but a little action. He says he's a new man, but he still acts like the same self-conscious teenager he has always thought he is. You see, Chuck's not a thinking man. At least, not with this head. And, of course, when he says not with this head, Edge is pointing at that what we all know as our heads, the brain in it. If you need me to spell out what Edge means by that joke, he's pretty much saying Chuck thinks with his penis, his wiener, his dick, his Long John Johnson. I'm pretty sure you guys get where I'm going with this. His Oscar Mayer, okay? Anyway, we all of a sudden we hear laughing in the back. As the WCW Canadian Champion, Lance Storm, he walks into the shot, he's clapping for Edge, and he just goes on to say, oh, typical Americans, you think you're so funny. And then Edge goes, I'm actually Canadian. You knew that. And Storm's like, oh, that's right. I guess that American Championship has just corrupted you. But then again, you've always acted like a juvenile degenerate, Edge. I guess there's a reason that you represent the US of A, and I represent the great country known as Canada. So we scroll down. I believe this actually might be our final promo we wrote. And then Edge goes on to say, yeah, I agree. Canada's great, but I'm not going to act like America can't be great either. But you know what, Storm? You're a lot like Chucky. You're a lot of talk, and I'm a lot of action. So if you want to prove who's a better champion and who's a better representative of Canada, then I'll see you out in that ring. Unless, of course, something came up like it usually does. And Lance Storm, he goes, you know what, as a matter of fact, my schedule is pretty full, Edge, but I think I can squeeze in kicking your ass tonight. And then Edge is just like, good, I'll see you out there. And we have another impromptu match, as it'll be the United States Champion Edge going over the Canadian Champion, Lance Storm. I don't know why I forgot that. Anyway, a lot of you guys corrected me in the last episode. I know I mentioned something about Arn and Ole Anderson being the Brainbusters, but I wasn't sure about that. I knew Arn was a part of it. A lot of you guys corrected me and said it was Tully Blanchard that was Arn Anderson's partner in the Brainbusters. So when we induct Arn Anderson into the Hall of Fame this year, it'll be as the Brainbusters with Arn Anderson. Or with Tully Blanchard, excuse me. If he's in this game. If not, then I'm just Arn Anderson. But I'm pretty sure he is. I'd be surprised if he's not. Mean Gene underperformed. Edge was good. And Lance Storm developing better performance skills. Never mad when that happens, especially when it's a guy like Lance Storm. Someone uber talented, just not good on the mic. Let me plug my laptop in here. Not that it's dying, but still. Wow, this match just did bad. Real bad. 52 D plus here, and about that, that's bad. And about that, a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling to it. Bradshaw ends up drawing with a big Bossman, or excuse me, just Bossman, after 8 minutes and 5 seconds, when the match descended into chaos after Raven, Vampiro, and Perry Saturn and Daphne all became involved. Technically, I guess this means Bradshaw won. But I'd imagine, just being the flock all together, kind of bum rushing the ring, and the referee just calling for the bell, and no real announcement being made. This definitely had something to do with this match. Bradshaw and Bossman apparently just don't click, and it showed in their performance, so that's a shame, but wow, this match did really bad. Bradshaw got a 61. Bossman with a 44. It did lose heat for the Raven-Bradshaw feud, which is a shame. But it regained some heat back with this right here. 66 seat plus freestyle segment because I can explain it better myself. We have the flock, Raven, Sabu, Bossman, Perry Saturn. Not Sabu, excuse me. Raven, Bossman, Perry Saturn, and Vampiro all beating up on Bradshaw. And that's when Billy Kidman, the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, and ECW's Tommy Dreamer and Sabu come racing down to the ring to chase the flock off. And they stand tall in the ring with Bradshaw as we have a little bit of a weird four-man crew in the ring here as we have Bradshaw representing the WWF, Sabu and Tommy Dreamer representing ECW, and then Billy Kidman representing WCW. Is it possible Kurt Angle could have been right all along, nerds and geeks? Is it possible that WCW, ECW, and WWF can all work together? Well, if you ask Billy Kidman, Tommy Dreamer, and Sabu, apparently yes. Either way, Bradshaw and Raven's storyline got some heat back, thank God, and Billy Kidman and Vampiro's storyline continued. So we jump into an 85B plus here. Backstage, we see the Giant. He's talking to someone, but we can't quite see who it is, even though Total Extreme Wrestling is going to spoil it by showing us these men here. But either way, Giant goes on to say, look, tonight, I've got Page and Goldberg, and I know that I could easily destroy them by myself, but I'm looking to prove a point. I'm looking to prove that Goldberg is a fraud, a one-trick pony, which you've done in the past. Which is why I'm coming to you to ask you to join me in embarrassing Goldberg and beating a bloody pulp out of DDP. And then the camera finally pans over to see who the Giant is talking to, and we see it was the WCW Commissioner, Lord Steven Regal, sitting in his chair. Of course, you know you have Power Plant at his side, and Regal's got a smile on his face, and he goes, well, Giants, I've got to say this is quite unexpected, but I accept. You've got yourself a partner. And then Giant goes on, good. Now the entire world will see Bill Goldberg for the fraud that he is. And there's a reason why Giant picked Regal. As he mentioned before, Regal has, in the past, shown Goldberg to kind of be a fraud. It's a little bit of an infamous moment. I'm sure we all know of it by now. Early days of Goldberg, Regal was supposed to just put Goldberg over, but apparently he took things under his own and proceeded to show everyone that Goldberg really couldn't wrestle, as he actually wrestled him and showed everyone pretty much what a fraud Goldberg was. There's two sides to the stories. Apparently, Regal said he wasn't going out of his way to do it. It was what he was supposed to. And then there's the other one where, he did it just to be a dick. Either way, though, that is the reasoning why Giant picked Regal, because in the past he has shown Goldberg to be kind of the fraud. So we jump into our next segment here. This was supposed to be the Edge versus Storm match. Freestyle segment as well, because I could explain it better. Solid A rating with an 89 here. Lance Storm, I'd imagine, already in the ring for this matchup. Edge begins to make his way down to the ring, but is jumped by Chuck Palumbo before he can get in the ring. And Palumbo's just beating down on Edge, tosses him in the ring. Lance Storm joins in on the fun, so now we have both Chuck Palumbo and Lance Storm beating down on Edge. Just beating the living hell out of him. Stacy Keibler's there. She's sexy, because we needed sex appeal. And then out comes Eddie and Chavo Guerrero, Los Guerreros, racing down to the ring. They chase off Chuck Palumbo and Lance Storm. And in the meantime, Lance Storm accidentally leaves the Canadian Championship in the ring while retreating from Eddie Guerrero. So thus, Eddie Guerrero picks it back up. And he's in possession of the Canadian/Mexican Championship once again, while Lance Storm just looks pissed. And they stand tall over, well, not stand tall, but Eddie helps Edge up, and Chuck Palumbo and Lance Storm retreat pretty much. So instead of getting a match, we have that, which will most likely lead to a tag team match next week. Chavo did indeed look lost out there, but the Edge, Palumbo, and Storm and Eddie feud all gained heat, which is great. So we jump into the next segment here, which is our tag team matchup, DDP and Goldberg versus Giant and Lord Steven Regal. Solid 80B rating here, and about that had great heat and good wrestling to it. Diamond Dallas Page and Goldberg goes over the Giant and Lord Steven Regal in 10 minutes, 5 seconds, when Goldberg defeats Regal with the Spear. So I'd imagine DDP and Giant being a little obsessed with DDP, kind of going after him, leaving Goldberg to Regal after a tag in, because I'd imagine DDP taking a lot of the brunt while Goldberg kind of stands on the corner, because that just seems like a Goldberg match to me. But either way, Goldberg gets his vengeance on Regal as he hits him with the spear. 1, 2, 3, pinning the commissioner and sending Giant on his way out of here as he pretty much, him and DDP, I'd imagine, getting rid of the Giant, clotheslining him out of the ring or some shit. Goldberg getting better at his gimmick. He had the best in-ring performance with a 91, Giant with an 84, DDP with a 79, and Lord Steven Regal with the weakest of the in-ring performance of a 75. Unfortunately, this match did lose heat for the DDP Giant feud, but that is okay. Giant and Goldberg both improving and technical, so thanks, Regal. Good on you, man. We then move on to an 88 B+ rating here, once again backstage with Mean Gene. Alright fans, joining me at this time is the WCW World Champion, Kurt Angle. Kurt, you'll defend that title, the top prize in WCW, against Chris Benoit, a man who just seems that you just can't beat. And not only tonight, but not only that, tonight you go against the very game and focused Kanyon, who many say is at the peak of his career. And then Angle goes on to, I don't want to say interrupt, but respond to Mean Gene by saying, and the right Mean Gene, Chris Kanyon is one of the best WCW has to offer, and I'm excited to face him. I know we're going to go out there and steal a show, but as much as I respect Chris Kanyon, he's not on my mind tonight. Chris Benoit is. And he has been since January's begun. Because it would seem that ever since Chris Benoit's aligned himself with Ric Flair, I can't beat him. And that's all I ever hear anymore, Mean Gene, is you can't beat Chris Benoit. And you know what? I'm gonna. Because if I lose, then this dream that I'm trying to make a reality, unifying these companies, will be just that. A dream. I've got to beat Benoit for the WWF, for ECW, for WCW, and for myself. But tonight, I've got to beat Chris Kanyon first. And then he looks over at Mean Gene. He just says, wish me good luck or whatever. As he starts walking towards the ring, as Mean Gene would probably, be like, all right, fans, well, coming up next after this commercial, Chris Kanyon takes on the WCW World Champion, Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. Kurt was fantastic, of course. Thank you, Kurt. Nothing special, though. It did move along the Benoit-Angle feud, but nothing special to that. As we go into our next segment, semi-main event of the night, 84 B+ rating here, and a bout that had great wrestling and good heat to it. Kurt Angle goes over Chris Kanyon in 9 minutes, 38 seconds with the ankle lock submission hold. Apparently, we also had Benoit distract Kurt Angle in this match. I don't remember adding it there, but whatever. So Benoit helped distract Angle, but it wasn't enough for Kanyon because Angle made him tap. Straight up. Kanyon with an 82 in-ring performance to Kurt's 93. Not bad, guys. We just go into another freestyle segment here before the commercial break as both Booker T and Ric Flair in split screens make their way down towards the ring for their winner is the Rumble in the Rumble match or whatever you want to call. We jump into that matchup which gets a 73 B-, a little disappointing to be honest. 73 B- here we have an exceptional matchup. Booker T going over Ric Flair in 9 minutes 31 seconds. I'm going to blame the time here, but again, I had to cut time for the whole show. 9 minutes, 31 seconds after pinning him with the scissor kicks. Remember, there's no angle, no angle. Well, there is no angle. But there's no Chris Benoit, no nothing. Just a straight-up one-on-one match, and Booker T goes over Ric Flair here tonight. Ric Flair is out of the Royal Rumble, while Booker T is in the Royal Rumble. So we know so far that at least Diamond Dallas Page, the Giant, Goldberg, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, Triple H, and Booker T are all in the Rumble. There's 7 people right there. Booker T with an 88 and Ric Flair with a 97. Flair killing it tonight. We jump into our ending segment of the night with an 84 B+. Again, just a freestyle segment because I can do it better. Ric Flair, he's mad that he just lost. He chop blocks Booker T while he's celebrating. Out comes Chris Benoit to help beat down on Booker because, they're a unit and they stick together. So we got mentor and protege beating down on Booker T for, costing Flair his Rumble spot. And then out comes the WCW World Champion, who comes to Booker T's aid and helps him beat up on both Ric Flair and Benoit. I'd imagine Booker going after Flair, Angle going after Benoit. They chase him out of the ring, and they stand tall together in the ring. Booker T kind of gives Angle a look like, the hell do you think you're doing? And then Angle goes over to him. He tries to shake Booker T's hand, extending his hand. And Booker T just kind of looks at his hand and he says, what the hell is wrong with you or something? And he just smacks it away before getting out of the ring. pretty much putting it clear that, I didn't need your help, I didn't want your help, and we ain't friends. Simple as that, as we end off the show with the world champion standing in the ring while Booker T leaves, leaving him hanging pretty much. Performance of Booker T was good, Ric Flair came out looking excellent, Benoit looked good, and Kurt Angle was a real star. Good on you guys. As we end off the show to get an 88 B+, increasing our popularity in 3 regions. We're starting to hit that point where it seems like we're kind of like stuck, it seems like, guys. Interesting. We have a decision. Did I hire anybody? I don't believe so. Not apparently, but Noah fired Taman Honda. Shame for them. Look at that. Fantastic reviews. Takeshi Rikio has gone from Noah as well. They fired a lot of people. Apparently it's because they got a big roster. Oh, they got rid of Pitbull. What a shame. They got rid of Kenta Kobashi? Hideo Itami? That's him, right? Yeah, Kenta. Huh. Interesting. Apparently Slick Wagner Brown's on the rise. Could always shortlist him. Maybe hire him at one point. And Yang. But we already have Yang. But apparently HWA are preparing a massive push for him. What is he down there? Holy shit, he's a main eventer. Good on ya, Yang. Alright, what do we got here? JBL apparently has now toned. I don't remember what he was before, but he's toned. Pitbull released by Noah, so obviously we were paying attention to him. Sean Stasiak doesn't connect with the fans. You should probably write him off, says Goldberg. And Booker T says Sabu is too clumsy in my opinion. He's going to end up hurting someone badly. Rey Mysterio. Alright, what do we have here? Oh boy. It's probably steroids. Yeah, steroids. Okay, we're gonna find you. Oh, you're unhappy. Well, that's a shame. Maybe you should stop doing steroids. Maybe, just maybe, you want to be unhappy then. Let's check out storylines before we move on. Or not move on, but end the video. The 4-way IC title feuds got an 84 B+. Kidman and Vampire with a solid 62 C. Bradshaw and Raven with a 56 C-. DDP and the Giant with a solid 80 B. Edge and Palumbo also with a solid 80 B. The Implosion of the Right 2 Center with a solid 61 C. Too Cool and the Boogie Nights with a 56 C-. Angle and Benoit with a solid 89 A. Storm and Eddie Guerrero with a solid 82 B. Lita and Daphne with a 72 B-. Power Plant and Morrus and Kanyon with a 77 solid B. The Royal Rumble feud is with an 87 B+. TNA versus Steiner Brothers with an 83 B+. And Rock and Undertaker with a 77 B. Solid B. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. That is going to be the end of this episode, though. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, a like, and subscribe if you have not already. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagrams, all that social media stuff. Help the channel grow. As always, my name has been OMG, WTF, LOL, FWBRB. I will see you guys for Sunday Night Heat. But until then, you guys have yourselves a wonderful day. And I will see... Hold on. Let's do a broken Matt Hardy. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. And I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, have a good one, guys.